As a man, you always have a burden of performance. No one is coming to save you. Now, often no one's coming to save women also, but there is this thing with women where it's like, if you're an attractive woman, there kind of is a dude or a line of dudes that are like, I would absolutely be willing to take care of you. Whereas for me, I don't have big boobies. No one is coming to fucking save me.
That is kind of a harsh reality that nobody teaches young men, that it's like being a man is a 24/7. If you actually want to be a leader in your family, be a leader in your relationship, be a leader in your business, whatever it is. And I think a lot of guys look at a relationship as a like, oh, I put the work in to get a girlfriend, to get a wife. I'm done. Box ticked. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You don't just go to the gym for 6 months once in your life and then never go again, and it'll stay that way forever. You do have to constantly work on all these aspects of your life: health, wealth, relationship. There you go.
You guys, ladies, agree with that? I would imagine you all do. Yeah, Starling's great. Starling is a sage. Former porn star turned into men's health sage. 100%. Look, Lindsay's like, I want to meet him.
He's cute,
and he's got that accent too. Look at that on you.
Oh yeah, I've tried. Never mind.
I'm sure he'd work with you.
You want to get on the ski? You want to get on the ski slopes with him? Yeah.
Yeah, we
go
can go snowboarding.
You go snowboarding.
Well, I mean, again, it comes back to. I mean, I've been writing about this since like back in the early mid, 2000s.
Yeah.
Burden of performance. And I think I used to get a lot of shit for this back in the day because everybody kept saying, oh, you shouldn't call it burden of performance. It should be like the challenge of performance or the gift of performance.
The gift of performance.
Yeah, they're trying to like, well, I mean, I understand because they want to spin it in some positive way.
Sure.
And I'll tell you, like right now, I listen to like people who are quote unquote red pill, like content creators who use, I coined that phrase like back in 2007. And I have to tell you that, like back then, people didn't want to accept it in the way that we like suddenly want to popularize it now. But back then, when I was saying it's a burden of performance, meaning the fact that if you want to be, and this comes back to not just necessarily meeting that burden of performance so that you can get a girlfriend, you can get laid, you can get a wife or whatever, have kids. It's not just that. It's also about your work. It's also about your physicality. It is what makes you respectable, and it also comes back to frame. So when we talk about money, muscles, and game, all of those are parts of the burden of performance. All of those three constitute what we call frame. It creates the world into which other like women want to be, want to come into, and men want to be associated with as well because they want to work with you because you have integrity, you have respectability. So, and it also comes back to my two sort of gendered concepts when it comes to respect, love. There are gendered concepts where for one sex, respect means something, and for men it means something else. So when it comes to male respect, what makes you respectable is how well do you meet that burden of performance. It's not trying. People used to think that I was using burden of performance as some way to sort of like browbeat, beta male guys, like, oh, come on, man, measure up, like being some sort of like coach kind of thing. It's not about that. It's like what makes you respectable. For women, respectability comes from like it's more common, it's more egalitarian. Everybody deserves respect. Everybody gets a participation trophy. We should all respect each other. No, for women, I'm sure that sounds really good as far as being collectivist and being egalitarian. It sounds like a good idea, but for men have to because we're competitive. We always want to jockey for who's the sergeant and who's the corporal. And I'm going to ruin the chain of command here, but like whoever's at the top of the heap and who's ever at the bottom of the heap, and we do that like hierarchically through our workplace, through the military, through sports teams and stuff like that. There's a captain of the team and everything else. So really what the burden of performance means, and what Sterling was talking about right here, is it's something that is always constant. Only in death does duty end, right? I mean, you have to constantly be going and improving and growing.
Yes, I love it. Guys, read Gates of Fire. Listen to King Leonidas. He hated leaving his wife behind and knew full well that he was going to die, and she knew he was going to die, and he still did what he did for Sparta. If you guys understand that concept, this is what it's like to be a successful man. Again, many men choose
come back with your shield or come back on your shield.
Come back on your shield. So it's one of these, guys have to understand, a successful man, there are going to be people out there that will tell you that what I'm saying isn't true. That's fine. Just notice that their followers and you are broke. Listen to me one more time. As a man, you always have a burden of performance. This is why most homeless people are men, not women. You always, when you don't have the burden of performance, this is why more people who take their own lives are men as opposed to women. As a man, you always have a burden of performance. No one is coming to save you. Now, often no one's coming to save women also, but there is this thing with women where it's like, if you're an attractive woman, there kind of is a dude or a line of dudes that are like, I would absolutely be willing to take care of you. Whereas for me, I don't have big boobies. No one is coming to fucking save me. And I have to recognize this, and everyone listening, all the men who are listening have to recognize this. And that understanding that is more important. Still go to therapy if you need it, but what I just said is more important than therapy.
See, I have a problem with the "no one is coming to save you" line, and everybody has been throwing this one out for a long time. Now, it's not that I disagree with that. I understand 100% agree. But I hate it when it is used as a fucking advertisement. So like what, and no hate on Justin Waller, but Justin Waller uses this quite a bit. Like the most liberating day of his life was when he realized no one was coming to save him. Great. Yeah. But then in the next sentence, it's like, oh, join the war room and all my buddies will save you. You know, like we're here for you. Don't worry, we're all together.
Can save you but
we're all a
us.
team. So where does individualism and no one's coming to save you end? And we're a team and we're all here to help you out, and we don't leave our people behind.
So here's the thing. I think what he may mean with the war room, I'm not in the war room, but what it may mean is like you were around a bunch of other men who also realize that no one's coming to save them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And in doing so now, because the problem is like
now
if you're in the war room, if you're in the war room or Men of Action or any other place where they coach high performers, when you're in one of those situations, you're around other men who realize that, but like you're also in the minority. Most men do not perform at that level. Most men, again, 17% of men in the United States make $100,000 a year. Only 17%. Okay, just so we're clear, all right? So these high performers,
more, right?
These high perform, huh?
The rest make more, right?
Oh, 17.
Just the bottom 17.
Hilarious. Yes, the median income is $200,000 a year.
There's that one line in Suits when like Harvey Specter's like, most people operate here. I operate here. Yeah. Every time you say that, I think about that.
So just so you're clear, when he's talking about an advertisement, it's an advertisement for a community around other people who are accountable. And like for me, I think that's great. Just like there was an advertisement for me to join the military. A lot of people look at recruiting advertisement for the military as propaganda. And I was like, I get to be around a bunch of other people who are on time, who are accountable, who pay for their actions. Sign me up fucking today. That's the way it works. So, I mean, I think one way you could say it's propaganda. Another way it's like, hey, listen, I knew what I was signing up for.